Welcome back Pokefans to my Nuzlocke challenge for Pokémon Brilliant Diamond, and this is gonna be a part 9. Last episode we made our way through Route 214 and we left at Valor Lakefront. Alright, this episode I do want to go through this whole area as well as finally reaching Pastoria city. Now I'm not really sure if we can complete the gym in this episode. If we can, we'll go ahead and get our 4th gym badge as well. But there is one thing that is left. I have finally decided to use my Bronzor in my team. So for now, our Meditite is gonna be going back to the box. Now, Bronzor is a bit underleveled, but I'm not too worried about it. I think this is gonna be pretty fine. So this episode will mainly focus on training up both my Bronzor as well as my Stunky. Those are the two Pokemons who are kind of underleveled, and I do want to have them all around the same level when we go to Pastoria city. So let's see how much they're gonna be around the end of this episode, and if they are still underleveled, I'll go ahead and level them up off screen. Well, now that these both are gonna be a part of my team, I do want to go ahead and give them each a ball capsule as well. So let me quickly go ahead and do that. Alright, here they are. So let me quickly go ahead and show you guys my Stunky. And I just went ahead and gave the ball capsule that was there for Meditite to Stunky. Just added a few more of those flower stickers. But I did go ahead and create a new one for my Bronzor, which I think looks amazing. I really like the swirly design. I think it's one of those star stickers again. In the future, if we do find more of these star stickers, I'm definitely going to be using them on my Luxray as well as Bronzor. Anyway, now that this is over, I think we can actually move on. Now, the very first thing I want to do is enter this restaurant right here. It's actually a very special building. Each and every day we'll have around 5 pair of trainers who will be actually sitting over there, and we can actually go ahead and battle all of them. And these 5 trainers will actually be rotating, so that's pretty cool. You won't be able to see the same pair of trainers every day. There might be a few different. So if you do want to, go ahead and train up your team members pretty easily, I think this is a really good place, especially for this point in the game. Other than the Versus Seeker that we have. Now, I have tried using Versus Seeker before. It's a bit of a trickier thing. Sometimes even though you have these steps calculated and you use the Versus Seeker, the trainers in the route might not really be interested in battling you. So it's not a guarantee that it will actually work every single time. So I do prefer to come over here to the restaurant, just battle all the 5 pair of trainers and just wait for the next day. Now you do have to wait for 24 hours for it to reset. There is no other way around it, but I feel like the battles are pretty tough and they do give you a lot of EXP. So this is actually pretty good. Anyway, other than that, I'm just over here, going around the Valor Lakefront, just trying to see if we have any items that we can actually pick up. And if not, I'll quickly go ahead and enter the restaurant. Alright, it seems like we did have a few items. There is one TM right over here. This is actually Trick Room, and I feel like it's a really good TM. Now, you do have to have a strategy in using it. This is mostly helpful if your Pokemon is extremely slow, but it does have a really good attack stat. In that case, you can go ahead and use Trick Room, which will make it faster, and I think that will actually help you. But personally, I don't think I'll be using it. Anyway, now that we have gone around, I think we can actually go ahead and enter the restaurant. And I will just try and switch out my team members. Since I am trying to train up both Stunky and Bronzor, I do want to have them up in front. I won't be really able to, use them completely. So I might have to, end up and use switch training over here. But I don't really mind. I think that's the better way. I do not want to risk losing them at this point just because I was a bit careless. So I think, switch training is way better. Anyway, here we have our first pair of trainers. They have a Bidoof and a Machop. And it seems like they each have 2 Pokemons, so that is actually quite good. Alright, let's see what we can do. I think I can actually keep Stunky out since it is at level 24. That's quite good. Now I did switch out my Bronzor to Staravia. I feel like Staravia can easily take care of the Machop. And Bidoof can't really do too much damage on my Pokemons, so we are pretty good. And it seems like Staravia is actually quite closer to fully evolve as well. So I'm quite excited about it. Maybe in this episode we can actually evolve it. Anyway, it seems like... okay, that was not too bad. I mean, I thought, Machop will do more damage on my Stunky. But it's pretty good. Alright, I did decide to take down the Machop first with an aerial ace. And I'm really happy with the move. I mean, as you might remember, I was a bit struggling with wing attack over there. Staravia doesn't really learn too many moves. I feel like it's one of those generic starter flying type Pokemon in a game. Now we do have some unique flying types in this game. Like I mentioned before, we do have Zubat, which is really good. If you ask me, I have personally used a Zubat. I had a Crobat in the end, and I feel like it's a really underrated Pokemon. Crobat is a poison and flying type, and it is pretty good. I mean, it is super fast and it hits pretty hard. I feel like people don't really, use Crobat too much. I mean, I would like to see people use it. It is really good and I would definitely recommend it. The other Pokemon that I feel that is really good in this game is obviously Togekiss. I have seen many people use it. It is a bit trickier to evolve considering that it needs both Friendship Evolution as well as a Shiny Stone. But if you do, give your effort on it, I think it does give you a lot of rewards back. Togekiss is pretty good in defensive as well as learns a unique amount of moves. Some of them I was pretty surprised to see it does learn. So if you do want to have a flying type that's part fairy type, pretty cool again, and have variety of moves, I think Togekiss is the Pokemon. The other flying type in this game I think would be Murkrow. Yeah, that's the only other Pokemon that I remember that's a flying type in this game. Murkrow is pretty special as it's actually a part dark and flying type. Again, this is pretty easy to use. It does learn a good amount of moves as well. The only issue with this Pokemon is that you do have to have again a Dust Stone to evolve it. These evolution stones are quite rare in this game unless you have a Ponchorisu who has pickup ability or a Aipom that has pickup ability. Having both of them would actually increase the higher chance of getting a Dust Stone or a Shiny Stone. So if you're planning to have a Pokemon that does evolve using these stones, I think having a Ponchorisu in your team would actually help you a lot. Anyway, here we have our second pair of trainers. Now you might have seen that I did go ahead and pick up the sweet key and received a lava key for that. But it's a bit trickier, it's one of those hidden items. But if you have a dowsing machine, I think that's much easier to actually find. Now I didn't find any issues in picking it up. I did go ahead and get the item for it as well. That's one thing I actually forgot to do before, so I just went in quickly to do that. But back to this, here is the second trainer, and as you can see, they actually have a Stunky and a Kadabra. That's pretty cool. The Kadabra actually helped me level up my Stunky over here. I was actually not expecting it, but I'm quite happy. And as you can see, my Bronzor is leveling up pretty fast. I guess it's because it's quite underleveled. other Pokemons are actually around level 33 for me now. So I'm actually happy it's actually leveling up. This might actually help me, easily level it up later stage. Anyway, it seems like having Stunky up in front is actually helping it as well. It's around a level where it can actually, battle with the other Pokemon. So it's not too much of an issue. But I'm still focusing on, Staravia evolving for me. That's actually a big thing. Other than that, there are a few Pokemons that we can actually get around here in Valor Lakefront. But it's not for now. I think we do have to go a bit further and we do have to have a TM for rock climb in order to do this. So I won't be able to get my encounter here, but I don't think it's gonna be that much of an issue. I feel like I have the 16 members that I actually needed in my team for now, so we are pretty good with the Pokemons. And I do have a few of them that are pretty good that I haven't really used till now in my team before. So if I do lose any of my team members that are currently there, I think I'll have enough Pokemons to really switch out. The only one that's a bit worrying is my Monferno. I feel like that's the only Pokemon that I can't lose, as if I lose my Monferno, the only other Pokemon that I can actually switch it out to is Ponyta, which I did catch thankfully in Cycling Road, but I don't think Ponyta is as good as Monferno is, so I will try my best to not lose my Monferno. Anyway, here I did actually go ahead and switch out back to Stunky. And of course, we were easily able to take down the Bizzle. Alright, seems like the trainers in this route are around level 21 to 23. That is pretty low. According to what level my actual team members are, they are pretty low. But it's not too much of an issue since I am trying to train up a few of my Pokemons that are at a lower level. Anyway, if you are going ahead and doing a normal playthrough of this game, I think you will have so many Pokemons that you can actually use by now. The underground is open, and considering the underground, I feel like there are various sections of those where you do get various type of Pokemons. For this game, I feel like underground wasn't really necessary considering the fact that we already have way too many Pokemons about. But it does help to find some really rare Pokemons, and I guess it's mostly for completing our Pokédex. Anyway, I do apologize for the background noise. These days it has been raining a lot in my area. We are just having this red alert everywhere. So you might actually hear the rain in the background, and I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, here we are battling the third pair, and as you can see, they do have a Mr. Mime. Again, if you did miss the collector trainer back in Route 210 inside the house where we bought the Moo milk, I feel like this is another trainer that can actually help you complete or fill the Pokédex for Mr. Mime. That's pretty good. I'm really happy that they're actually giving you multiple chances with different trainers. But again, there are a few Pokemons that you can only find with certain trainers, and if you don't have it evolved yourself, you might have to go ahead and battle that trainer and get the data for it. So that is a bit trickier, but you can actually, get the data for all the Pokemons in this Pokédex just by battling all the trainers in this whole game. So that is actually pretty good. You don't find that in every other game. I mean, there are games where you have to have a few Pokemons. You have to catch them yourself, or you might have to trade it just to get it, but that's not the case for this one. And finally, my Staravia is evolving. Alright, this is amazing. We are finally getting our Staraptor, and I believe it does learn some really good moves. Let's see what it actually learns. As far as I remember, I think it does learn close combat as well. Yup, it does. So that is actually really helpful. I'm glad it actually learned that move. So I'll go ahead and actually switch out a move for this. I did decide to actually remove Pluck since I already have a release, which I feel like is much accurate than Pluck. Anyway, here is my current team and I think that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and battle the fourth pair of trainers. Alright. This time we have a school kid and a Pokefan. Nice. And I think this is the first time we're seeing both of these Pokemons. It's actually a Meryl and a Wooper. Now these two Pokemons can only be found in the marsh area in Pastoria city. So if you do want to catch them, just like Scorpy or Krogunk, you'll be able to find them in the marshy area. But you do have to make sure they're actually available by checking the telescope over there. I might not check the telescope, but I will try and run around the area just to see what Pokemon I might get. And whichever Pokemon that I get is gonna be my encounter for the marshy area. That is actually pretty good for me. I'm actually excited for that. You have so many Pokemons over there and I'm not really sure which one I might get. But for now, I think I might have to switch out my Stunky, especially since Wooper over here does know a ground type move. This Wooper actually reminds me that the 4th gym leader, who is actually a water type trainer, has a Quagsire. So that is gonna be a bit of an issue for us, considering that we do not have any grass type Pokemon in our team. I might have to go ahead and level up my Badoo a bit more just for the Quagsire and just switch out Monferno and maybe keep Badoo in my team for this battle. But seems like we might have some issues if not. And I might have to actually evolve that Badoo into a Roselia as well. Just that Badoo won't really help as it doesn't really have that much of a attack or a defense. Let's see how that also goes. I do have to have that in my mind. Anyway, thankfully we were able to take down the Wooper pretty easily. Not too much tough. And we have defeated the 4th pair of trainers. Alright. This is actually pretty cool. Let's quickly battle the 5th pair as well. And I think we can actually move on from Valor Lakefront. Just went ahead and healed up my team members. And here we are for the final battle. Alright, seems like we have 2 unique trainers over here. And yup, this is the reason why I like these pair. They actually have a Lopunny, which will actually give you more EXP. Anyway, it's actually time for me to switch out my Brawlzor. I do not want it to have up in front, especially if it's a Lopunny. And I will of course go ahead and switch in my Gastrodon as well. Lopunny is pretty powerful and I'm not really sure what moves it actually learns at this level. But if it does have a fighting type move, then it's pretty bad. So I did have to actually switch out. Alright, quick attack is fine. But the Endeavor, as you can see, it did a lot of damage. That is pretty bad considering that Starly does have only around 47 HP at its level. I did have to actually switch out my Gastrodon as well just to make sure I do not lose it at that HP. And I did take care of the Starly with Monferno. I think it should go down, but let's see how that actually goes. Now I did teach Monferno Flamethrower, as you can see, and this is actually pretty cool. I'm really happy that we got this TM way back in Wildstone City. If you didn't buy any of these TMs, I would definitely recommend you guys to go back and buy it. It's actually really good. and it actually helps me a lot. Especially I might have to actually go back there myself, considering that I have a second psychic type Pokemon and I do have to buy the psychic type TM again. Anyway, it's quite nice to see a Hoothoot over here. It's quite a special Pokemon and I really like it, especially since I used to use it way back when I was playing the Heart Gold and Soul Silver games. Anyway, we did manage to take down the Lopunny. That is really good. And as you can see, the EXP is amazing. That was amazing. I'm really happy that both my Stunky and my Bronzor actually leveled up. And it seems like my Stunky is actually catching up with the other team members. It's actually at level 27. Just around 6 more levels to go and pretty good. Anyway, if you can see there, my Bronzor actually has a metal coat with it. Now, I believe that it was with it when I actually caught that Bronzor. That is actually pretty rare. I feel like any Pokemon that has any kind of items is like 5% chance of holding that item. If that's the case, this item, this Bronzor is pretty rare. And I really didn't find out that until I saw it in the last episode. I think I forgot to actually mention that as well. Anyway, it seems like we have a Glameow out here. That is quite nice. Alright, we don't really get to catch this Glameow way until we go to get the 6th gym badge. So it's quite nice to see one over here. And it seems like we have actually gone ahead and defeated all the trainers in this restaurant. So we can actually move on. This is pretty cool. I really enjoy coming here every single day and battling these trainers. If you would like to see me battle them again, please let me know. I'll go ahead and do that. Anyway, I'm quite thankful that we can actually heal our Pokemons right here with this guy. That is one good thing since we don't really have a Pokemon Center around here. Alright, finally you can see that my Bronzor is actually at level 20. When we started this episode, it was at level 14, so we did gain 6 whole levels just in that restaurant, so that is pretty cool. Alright, there was one item over here, and I believe that there are around 2 to 3 items right here in this small area, but I'm not really sure where it exactly is. Let me actually go ahead and battle these trainers first, and then I might try and pick up that item. Anyway, here is the first trainer, and it seems like he has a Shellos. I think this schoolboy over here or the kid over here will actually have 3 Shellos. If so, then it will be pretty funny since we have found a lot of trainers with the same Pokemons over and over again. It almost feels like the Nintendo just, they just stopped having new ideas, I guess. Now, I did decide to actually switch out my Stunky over here because I'm not really sure if Shellos does learn any kind of ground type move. If it does, it would be really difficult. I mean, I might actually lose my Stunky just because of that. Anyway, I did decide to actually switch out to my own Gastrodon, which actually is pretty cool. Now, as you can see, the Shellos color is different from the one that I own. My Shellos is actually pink and this one is blue. I feel like in between both of these, I really like the blue design. I feel like it looks way better. But I know there are people out there who really like the pink Shellos design as well. So I don't think I really want to put too much on this, but I feel like when it does evolve into a Gastrodon, I feel like the pink one is much better. Anyway, we did have to actually do some switch training over here. I did not want to really lose out the experience that I can actually get, but just having Stunky up in front for at least one move and then switching out to some other Pokemon just in case if Stunky can't really hold it. Alright, I think this is pretty fine. Let me try using another move. And I feel like I should have used Bite before. As you can see, it does way more damage than the other moves. And of course, this trainer has 3 Shellos. I should have known. Anyway, let's quickly use Bite, and as you can see, it does way more damage than the other moves. Alright. Unfortunately, it seems like my Stunky is now confused and I do have to actually switch it out. I'll go ahead and switch out to Gastrodon, which is pretty fine. Gastrodon can easily take down the Shellos. And it's quite nice to see that this trainer actually has both the forms of Shellos. Anyway, let's quickly go ahead and take down the Shellos easily. I did decide to use Body Slam as I've really not used this move till now. And it seems to be doing pretty good damage. I think I should actually go ahead and try using Body Slam more. Anyway, we have defeated this trainer over here as well. And as you can see, this is actually a part water type route. We actually have a chance of going ahead and surfing through here as well. But of course, you do need to have the ability to surf, which I don't think we'll get for now. I think we'll get it once we have our 5th gym badge, which is fine. I think it would take some time. But seems like we have a bee barrel over here. Alright. I did have to actually switch out my Stunky. We do have a Luxray who should be able to easily take down this bee barrel. I keep forgetting that bee barrel is part water type. Since Bidoof is just a normal type Pokemon. Anyway, let me quickly use Thunderbolt, which has been helping me a lot in this game. I'm really happy that I did buy it way back in Waystone City. And we have one-shot BP barrel. Alright, that is pretty cool. Seems like my Bronzor is level 21. I'm not really sure at what level Bronzor actually evolves. I might have to look it up. This is really bad. If it does evolve at a later stage just like Meritite does, then that would be pretty weird. But here we did find a bottle of calcium. Alright, so that's actually one of the items. Let me actually walk around. There should be another one. And here it is. It's a super potion. We do have a 3rd item, but I'm not really sure where it is. So I might actually skip that one out. It's totally fine. We did get the 2 main items that we needed. Anyway, let me look around and see if there are any more trainers that we can actually battle. And it seems like we have one right over here. Alright. Let's see which Pokemons this trainer is gonna be using. And of course, it's a Magikarp. Like, seriously, you should have at least evolved it into a Gyarados at this point. But apparently, it's still at level 19. Sadly, it won't be evolving in this battle since I will be winning it. Alright, now Venoshock did do pretty cool damage, but I'm actually hoping that Stunky will get some better moves. Just like Sludge Bomb or, Crunch if it's a dark type move. Alright, he actually has a Gyarados as well. This is actually surprising, but I do have to switch into my Luxray. It's always really risky to switch into a Gyarados as I have lost my team members just while doing that. As long as this Gyarados doesn't know the move Waterfalls, we should be good. I feel like the Waterfalls move is really good on a Gyarados. It does a lot of damage. Thankfully, it didn't really use Waterfall, so we are good. And we were able to take it down in one hit. Alright. Let's see which Pokemon is next. I suspect it's gonna be another Magikarp. But let's see. Oh, okay. It's actually a Remoraid. Now that's actually the first time we are seeing one. I feel like Remoraid is one of those Pokemons that's quite unique. Now it does evolve into a different Pokemon, but it also helps another Pokemon evolve as well. So that's actually quite nice. I wish we had way more Pokemons than this one, in this category. But we didn't have any other Pokemons just like this one. So I guess for now it's gonna be just Remoraid. Anyway, I believe we can actually catch this Pokemon right here if we do decide to actually, instead of surfing, just try using our good rod. But there is one more thing I want to do before going to Pastoria City. Now, I know that this is not really that important, but I feel like we should actually go ahead and check this one out. It's actually pretty funny. Alright, let me actually head into this house. And we have a NPC who will actually read the footprints and tell us what the Pokemon is actually feeling. First of all, we have Stunky. And apparently it is quite angry with me. And definitely not happy with me at all. This might be due to me actually switch training it, and might not be because I'm actually using it in a battle completely. But that's actually pretty fun. At each level of friendshipness, he will actually tell you a different statement. As for now, for my Bronzor, it seems like he is saying it's a silent type, and that actually means that we don't really have too much of a friendship level over there, which actually explains because Bronzor is my newest Pokemon. But I do want to check out another Pokemon, maybe Gastrodon or my Staraptor. They should actually have a better statement at least. Alright, seems like Gastrodon is pretty happy, but I'm not really sure if it's happy enough to get a ribbon. Nope, not yet. I guess a few more places and I think Gastrodon will be ready to get a ribbon. But it seems like Starivia is actually gonna be getting a ribbon. As you can see, it does have a very high friendship level, considering that we did catch it at the beginning of this game. So I do not expect anything less from all the three Pokemons. That would be my Staraptor, my Luxray and my Manferno. So this is another way that you can actually judge the friendship level of your Pokemon. You don't really have to always just try and see the Poketch app. This will actually help you understand where your friendship level is and how much you might have to actually train them up or increase it to evolve them. As you can see, my Luxray also got the ribbon, and I believe that my Manferno will get the ribbon as well. My goal is, by the end of this whole challenge, I do want to get the ribbons for my team members. This is one thing I never focused on when I was going through my playthrough, and I think it's pretty cool to have a few ribbons. So this is actually pretty cool. And of course, if it's your starter Pokemon, they will actually give you a different kind of statement, which is actually different from the other two. Alright, although it seems like there is no ribbon for my Manferno. Okay, that is a bit weird, but whoops, okay. And here is the ribbon. It's actually the footprint ribbon. We do have various kinds of ribbons in this game. You do get them for going through the contest battles as well. But I think this is a very unique one and it's pretty cool. Anyway, it seems like we have one more trainer left before we actually enter Pastoria City. So let's quickly go ahead and battle her as well. Alright, it seems like she has a Glameow. Pretty unique considering that only a few trainers in this game do have one. I believe I can actually take it down with my Stunky over here. So, yep, it needs one more move to take it down. Alright, that was actually pretty weird. I was not expecting Glameow to use Aerial Ace, but okay. Anyway, we have taken down the Glameow. That is pretty cool. And of course, Stunky is at level 28. And since we are actually in a new route, we do have a chance of getting a new Pokemon. I believe I'll just go ahead and try using the honey tree again, because we have a variety of Pokemons that we can get from it. Alright, here we have another hidden item. Let me actually run around, and yep, it's right here. It's actually a awakening. Anyway, there's one more item to pick up. It's right over here. Let me quickly use Rock Smash and pick up this item as well. Okay, so this is actually a TM for Aerial Ace. I was not expecting that over here. But if you don't have Aerial Ace in your, flying type Pokemon, this is actually a good place to actually teach it. And now that we are here on the entrance of Pastoria city, I believe we can actually go ahead and, enter it. There are a few items that we can actually get. So I might actually go around the Pastoria city just getting all of the items before we maybe try and end out this episode. Now we do have a Pokemon in this route that I have yet to catch. But no, okay, so Wingull was the only Pokemon that I could actually catch in this route, and apparently I was unlucky enough to find one over here. I'm not really sure if I should say it as unluck or a luck of finding it. I was not really wanting this Pokemon because I was trying to get a Pokemon from the honey tree. But since we did get this Wingull over here, I guess we do have to ignore the honey tree for this route. Anyway, let's try and catch this Wingull. This was actually totally unexpected, and I guess it's okay. I guess we're having a backup water type Pokemon now. I mean, Wingull is not bad, but I feel like Pelipper is one of those Pokemons that's quite trickier to use. It does get the ability Drizzle, which may or may not actually hinder your team members depending on the situation, so not really a big fan of it. Anyway, finally we have entered Pastoria city. This is cool. Alright, I think it's time for me to actually run around and pick up all of the items. I do want to actually go ahead and enter the marsh in this episode as well. I feel like, I should go ahead and go through it before we enter the gym, as we do have a TM that is actually required in the future. Alright, here is another NPC who actually examines your Pokemon for the scarf. Now, if you have given them any kind of puffins, then they will definitely go ahead and get that ribbon. Anyway, let me quickly heal up my team members, and we can actually enter the marshy area as well. Now, I believe we have the move tutor in this city as well, but I'm not really sure in which home he is currently. So I guess we have to just go ahead and go around just checking out the places. We do have few more berries, so I'll quickly go ahead and pick up all of these. These are quite rare, and I feel like harvesting berries in this game does help you a lot, especially if you do have to have more puffins. There is one Pokemon who does need a puffin to evolve, and it is really tricky to find that Pokemon. As you might know, this Pokemon is actually Feebas. In this game, Feebas is really tough to catch. It's quite rare, and it's a luck if you do catch it or if you do find one. And I don't think I'll ever find that Pokemon in this playthrough. I feel like it's way too out there and way too rare to actually find. But if you do actually want to catch a Feebas, then I would definitely recommend you guys to harvest as many berries as you can. Just because you do need to increase the beauty stat of a Feebas in order to evolve it. Anyway, I think we are done with all the items in Pastoria City. So the next thing to do is go ahead and enter the marshy area. So let me quickly do that. Well, apparently we do need to pay 500 Poké Dollars to enter this area, so that is a bit trickier. But we do have an encounter over here, so I'm quite happy about it. I also want to go ahead and get this TM right here, which is actually the TM for defog. And you do need to have this if you want to go forward in the game. Or else it's actually pretty tough to go through that route, so I would definitely recommend you guys to actually get this one. Other than that, I do want to actually go ahead and look around this marshy area, because there are quite a few items that you can only get over here. Now, it seems like I did get confused. I thought the area 6 would be the furthest, but it seems like area 1 is gonna be the furthest. So let me actually make my way over there, and we can actually go around the marshy area, just trying to see which Pokemon we can actually catch. Alright, I should have said area 2 instead of 1, and that is actually pretty bad. It's always recommended to make sure you use less steps as possible, just to make sure you get a chance to go through the whole area once. And of course, I'll be trying to see which Pokemon I might encounter. As you can see, I did find a B-Barrel, but I did actually catch a Bidoof, which means I can't catch its evolution as well. But thankfully, we do have a few items around this route that I can actually pick up. So let me actually go around. I feel like the easiest strategy for this is to start from the back and come to the forward. That way you'll be able to pick out all the items that are there around this area. Alright. Of course, just make sure you don't fall into those muddy puddles over there. That will actually stop you from moving, and you will lose a lot of steps just by falling into one. And we found a Badoo. So I do have a Badoo again, so I can't really catch this one either. So let's move on. Now if I don't really find any Pokemons in this marsh, then I will definitely try and fish few. I think I do have Goodrod, so I believe we can actually find a few of these Pokemons. Alright, we are still going good, and we have picked up a few of these items. So let's move on. All I'm just hoping in this whole area is that I do not fall into any of those mud puddles. That would be just me wasting my time, so I'm trying to be as careful as I can. And thankfully we don't have any trainers in the marshy area, so we don't have to worry about the trainers as well. Alright, we have picked up all of the items around here, so I believe we have to pick up only the items that are down below. Here is another one, which is a super potion. Alright, not bad. We have been picking up a lot of items till now. And let's see which Pokemon it is. Again, a B-Barrel, which I do have, so I will go ahead and run. Surprising that I haven't really found any other Pokemon over here. I was actually hoping that I would find another one, but I guess not. And we have found another item. Alright. So this is actually going to be bringing us to the entrance. And finally we have found a different Pokemon. Alright, this is a Carnivine. You'll be only able to find Carnivines here in the marsh, and I'm actually pretty happy with this. This Carnivine might actually help me win the 4th gym badge, considering that I did want a grass type Pokemon for the Quagsire. So I'm actually happy that I was able to catch it as well. Carnivine is known to be a bit trickier. It's quite rare and it will run away as soon as possible. So I'm quite happy that I was able to catch this one. Anyway, now that we have completed going through the whole marsh and getting our TM as well, I think this is actually a good place for me to go ahead and end out this episode. We have after all gone ahead and completed 2 new areas and reached Pastoria city. In the next episode, I'll go ahead and challenge the 4th gem, and that is gonna be pretty amazing as well. I am really excited to get the 4th gem badge as well. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and train up my team members, Stunky and Carnivine as well as Bronzor. Anyway, thank you all for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. It does help me a lot. And I'll actually see you guys in the next one.